So it's great to have you all. It's a great honor have you all with us over here. And you know what? Let's start maybe with a small introduction. Each one of you will introduce himself, tell about where he lives, where he's from, what he's doing. So we have some background, and then we start with the questions, and that's it. Okay. So who wants to start? Matteo, you want to start?
No, no. Somebody else. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll go. I'll go.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Matteo, we see that there is a mystery. Who is John? Is it you, Nick?
It's not me.
Not you?
Absolutely not me. Maybe it's Claude.
yeah.
God,
Maybe it's
no.
my it's Claude on my computer interacting. I don't know.
No. It
We have
feels like that.
AGI happening. It has happened.
It's happening.
Uh,
Yeah, I can go ahead and introduce myself
okay.
first. Been an application developer for most of my career. Been working professionally in open source since 2020, and currently I'm a developer advocate at a company called Pomerium. It's an identity-aware proxy that's open core, and so it's security software for infra, which was something completely new for me. But that said, I've been doing a lot of stuff in the MCP space because we secure MCPs. We're not an AI company, but just the nature of our product lends to securing MCPs really well. So yeah, excited to talk today.
Cool. Okay. Guillaume?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Guillaume Blaquiere. I'm a data architect at the headquarters of Carrefour. Carrefour, if you don't know it, it's one of the major retailers in the world, like Walmart in the US. So I'm based in France, and I'm also a Google developer expert on Google Cloud. So I'm recognized by Google as an expert on their platform, and so I'm testing a lot of stuff released by Google. GenAI, of course, cloud services also, and recently also Code Assist and new IDE like anti-gravity and stuff like this.
Cool. Great. Matteo?
Hey, Matteo Collina. I don't know. Living in Italy, working remotely, been doing stuff for Node.js for quite some time. Jumped on the bandwagon really early. At this point, I am the chair of the Node.js Technical Steering Committee, which is the group
Wow.
that uh, directs the development of Node.js. Then I sit on the board of director of the OpenJS Foundation and Graphical Foundation. Then I also have a startup. I co-founded a startup 3 years ago called Platformatic, in which we aim to make Node.js more resilient and scalable for enterprise deployments. And you can check us out.
No, amazing. I didn't know that you are the chair of the Node.js Foundation and
Well, I
yeah.
have been. I made. I don't know. I typically volunteer for jobs that are nobody else wants and they're not fun, and therefore it's coding is way more fun. Okay, let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
This seems to be how volunteering always. It's always like I've volunteered for other stuff, and it's always the same people, and it's like it just happens. Like you do a lot, but anyways, sorry.
Cool. Wow. We have a serious panel. Excellent. Sounds awesome. Let's start. But first, before I ask the questions, I just want to quickly overview about offer what we already know. So we know that we can use AI for code completion, assistance, project scaffolding, generating skeletons, code review, refactoring, generating tests, cover, generating code documentation, getting explanations. And we also now have IDEs that are agentic IDEs with small AI agents that are doing stuff for us automatically. This is basically what we are already know. Everyone have in mind each one of these capabilities in a different scale. Now let's start with the first question. Okay, and please try 2 minutes each one of you so we can catch up a lot. So the first question relates to developers' skills and roles. What core skills will JavaScript developers, web developers need in an era dominated by spec-driven and AI-augmented development? How will AI reshape the role of front-end developers? Will coding become orchestration? How will AI reshape hiring front-end developer, full-stack developers? Will system thinking outweigh coding? What does collaboration look like when developers, product managers, designers, and AI agents all contribute to the specs when using the spec-driven development? So, what do you have in mind about that? The developer skills that are required, the role of the software developer in this new amazing era that we are just in the beginning of it.
Yeah, I can start if you want. In fact, for me, the main skills, because when you are a JS developer, you are most of the time a front-end developer. You need to understand the users, what the users need. Because yes, maybe in the near future or right now, you are not developing your code. You are not typing your code because it's the machine that generates the code for you. But you need to explain to the machine what you understood from your users or from the product manager. And so you need to really understand the process, the mindset of the product or the wish of your product manager, and then to translate it into a prompt or into code, whatever. But yes, understanding of your of the needs. For me, it's the best skills that you can have for this.
Yeah, I can kind of follow up from Guillaume. Yeah, you definitely have to be. It's not more just jump into code now. It's going to become more and more important. Like we're going to talk about specs, I'm sure, but like, you know what I mean? Like when we used to have, well, not everybody has user stories still and stuff, but like you want to have as much detail in those things, and to be able to craft like a prompt, because you can obviously say, just make me a website. It's going to make a website, but it's not specific enough. So you really need to get into those nitty-gritty details. And I think developers in general will have to be better communicators as well. Like you kind of do this in more senior roles. You still code too, but like I think everybody's going to have to step up to be able to communicate as well as possible, because it all comes down to crafting that good prompt or using prompts to generate like a PRD, like a product requirements document or something. So, I think that skill is going to be super important, just communication and writing. And also, you're going to have to wear that hat more often as a code reviewer as opposed to the implementer, because like, there's a lot of things that like I can do that I just don't want to do now. I let AI do it because it's just mundane stuff, like I don't know what happened to my camera there, but let me bring it back. But yeah, like you basically need to be just more of a critical code reviewer versus just slinging code. And there's still important things you need to focus on, but like a lot of the brunt work, like you mentioned, Haim, is like a lot of this stuff can be done already by AI, so we can focus on the deep work.
Okay, Matteo, what do you have in mind?
So I want to be a little bit less. I'm probably a little bit more old-fashioned. Okay, in that sense. Okay, I think what will happen is the chasm between what is required for a senior developer and a junior developer is going to get even wider and wider and wider. Okay. And because in fact we will need some developers, okay, that have the skills to jump in and review the code, understand what the bugs are, and get the bugs fixed. Okay. And this kind of role, okay, has been there in every company, essentially. Intentionally and unintentionally is there everywhere. Some companies is, I don't know, staff engineers, some other companies, principal engineers, but those kind of things is going to get even more critical, okay? And this requires competence. This requires knowing how to code, knowing how to code well, knowing algorithm, knowing all the foundations, knowing all the things that you should know now, okay? Knowing your frameworks, knowing your platforms, okay? So you need to know all of that, okay? And that is a big chunk of, a career, okay? But on the other end, there is a massive reshaping of AI will cause a significant reshaping of the lower skill part of the industry, okay? What the shops that used to, the small shops that used to do WordPress, Joomla customization, Drupal customization, like, there's a lot of small shops that were doing just like customization of those, frameworks now can more or less with the same cost profile create something with V0 or other tools like that that can quickly create front ends, okay, and quickly create working prototypes, essentially working things with UI and all the bits. And essentially, and there it's a matter of being able to craft prompts very well and so on and so forth. At that point, you are more, a product engineer, and more, to be honest, we can say it's somebody that I can see that will be a merger role that is a mixture of design plus a little bit of vibe coding, essentially, that will be, the pusher for a lot of features, okay? But I given that we are not seeing a decrease in the demand of software, but an increase in the demand of software, okay? And we can now fulfill the demand of software at lower cost. That will just grow.
Interesting. Absolutely. Lots of things to think about, all of you, the input we got from all of you. Okay, let's move forward to the next question. We won't have time for all questions, so I think the more important is about architecture and system design. So will we see new architectural patterns emerging, like AI first modules? You talked about front end, for instance, agentic micro front ends. Will AI blur the lines between front end and back end? Because we can say do a web app or back end and front end, it will do it. How should teams document their system to harness the AI-powered development fully? Will fully specs like EARS and UML become more popular? So what do you think about that?
Let me take it so that we flip the order.
Yeah.
No. My answer to that is no. Okay.
You think that EARS and UML won't
no
dominate suddenly? Okay.
No, because it's they are used as a representation for software engineers. Okay. The real magic of LLMs is the fact that they work so well with unstructured prompts. Okay. And that is their magic. Okay. So you need to, and you actually fight to give it more structure. Okay. And they don't want structure. And they complain when you try to put them in a structure. Okay. And you are upset about it. Okay. So that is the big difference for me. So I don't think that those tools will become more prominent. Okay. But having said that, okay, the AI don't need any specific notation. You can just draw a piece of paper and they probably just can understand it. Okay. So as part of that spec, keeping it loose and having diagrams that are loosely, done, essentially boxes as arrows, okay, that everybody can understand. You don't need very complex notation of what is synchronous communication, what is asynchronous communication, what does asynchronous communication even mean in this context? Okay, it doesn't make any, sorry, this is my critique to UML, okay? It's not, useful from that. Okay, like those ways of expressing things are more for humans. Okay, I think we'll just have very good textual representation, and maybe they communicate back to us using those diagrams. Okay, and that I use that a lot. Okay, so not as an edit form. Okay, a way to design things, but more of okay. Tell me what you understand from the system. And that is a way to check what the internal representation is.
Okay. Who wants to take it?
Yeah, I can continue. I would say, like Matteo, in fact, to say no. In fact, I think that AI won't change the architecture of application. We saw some major changes in the past from on-prem to the cloud. And finally, the issues, the problems, the design, the architecture are still the same in one paradigm to another one. I think with AI will be the same. All the concept, all the pattern will be the same in the future. And also, when you talk about will AI will blur the boundaries between front-end, back-end, DevOps, maybe yes, but it's a trap. Because if you are expert in front-end, you can review code, you can challenge the AI code because you are expert in front-end developments. Yes, you can ask AI to also perform the back-end and the DevOps parts. But how can you challenge, review this code if you are not expert in this part? So I think maybe yes, but it's a trap for the developer, or maybe to have a MVP or a V0 to your app, but not for production. And finally, about the documentation, I think the documentation and LLMs are very good to generate documentation, but for who? For developers. For developers, we will maintain your code, but finally, developers won't maintain your code. It will be AI that will maintain your code. So why to generate documentation for LLMs, and LLMs understand your code with the code, not without the documentation? That's why I think, yeah, we are the pattern, the concept will stay the same. We just take one level higher in the guidance of the machine.
Okay. Nick, what do you think?
In terms of it's a good point what Matteo and Guillaume said. I do think it's gonna blur the lines between front end and back end, but like in the sense, like I think everybody needs to be aware of how the whole system works. Like that like people always say, like, understand the big picture. You know what I mean? When somebody junior's like, I fixed a bug, you might have fixed it, but in the context of the entire system, does it fit well and stuff? And that could involve the back end too. So I think it's going to blur in the sense that you really do have to have a general understanding of the whole system, back end and front end, but you still are a specialist in certain parts. And to Matteo's point before about product engineer, I think that role, like the full stack is becoming more and more of a thing. What is full stack anyways? People use so many terms for it, but I would just like quantify it more like back end and front end to just keep it simple. But, and in terms of the docs, yeah, it is kind of weird. Like Guillaume was saying, it's like if the AI is helping you generate the code and then you generate the docs from code. Maybe it's like it's really more like the LLM helping itself, and it probably just needs markdown, or LLM's text or whatever. So it's I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
No, you have AI augmented development. This is
Yeah,
usually what happens, but you also have the spec-driven development where you first
yeah.
work on the docs. You don't
Yeah,
code
well,
anything.
the spec-driven development, that like the docs there, that's important, and that's like at the human level doing that. Maybe you're obviously getting some assistance for questions and stuff, but the spec-driven, like a lot of times when I do stuff now, it's like I'll generate a PRD. There's another interesting project I saw. I haven't used it yet, but it's SpecKit from GitHub or Microsoft. It's something I want to explore, but just being able to spec it out, break it down, into manageable tasks or to-dos, essentially like old school agile where you have like, an epic user stories task you kind of need to start delegating that kind of work to agents as well, whether it's like I use Claude Code a lot. So, sub agents to spin off stuff with Git work trees and so on. So it's but the spec UI driven development, I think, that's definitely more on the human side. But yeah.
Cool. Well, actually, we are nearly running out of time. I want to state.
In other frameworks, okay, but
Yeah, please. No, I said that I prefer. What do you say? What do you want?
No, sorry. No.
No, sorry. No, I think we will need to stop now because if you want to stay bit inside of the frame of the meeting, and if you go beyond, I don't know, maybe one more question and try to. What is more interesting? I think. Um, mm, Okay, let's talk about testing. It's very simple to say AI generate the test, this is great. But there are questions about that. So will AI transform the way we test web applications? Can AI generate and maintain test suites, detect problem and improve the code autonomously? How do teams validate and verify changes produced by autonomous or semi-autonomous agents that do it for us? Okay, what do you think about testing, QA, both?
I can start it off, I guess. It's definitely good at writing tests, but I think, and like even like I've written tons of end-to-end tests and stuff. These things are tedious and stuff. But the thing is, you can't take it at face value, right? Like it could literally generate tests that hard code stuff and just show the test passing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this gets back to what I said in like the first question. We, as code reviewers or as like people owning these systems, we really have to be critical of what it is. It's not like I don't know, when people used to use just snapshots when they came out, they're just like, oh, it changed, commit, push, like not really look at it. So I think they're really good at writing tests, but again, you still really have to validate these things. You know, because like I think you still need a human in the loop for these things, even fixing bugs, like you want somebody to sign off on it. We're not at a point where they're that good. You know what I mean? Like maybe we'll get there at some point, but I think right now, like, would you be cool with like, oh yeah, I'll just let that push to prod. ChatGPT said it was good or whatever.
Nick, we are not letting humans do that. Okay, I have no faith that we will get a machine to do it. And
yeah.
Before the next 10 or 20 years. Okay. After 10 or 20 years, my bets are off. But with the current generation of LLMs, okay, and the way they work, okay, I don't expect it to be the case.
No, that's why you still need the human in the loop. Like it's just, it'd be nice to have it just say auto fix everything, but yeah, in a serious production system, I don't think anybody's doing that right now. So
yeah, and I think it's pretty easy to generate a backend test for a machine. But when you are speaking about JS and front-end and how's your website or your mobile app look like with different format and what's the color, what's the style, I think, yeah, this kind of visual validation is difficult. Not impossible, as Matteo said, LLMs excel when you have unstructured data like images, but to validate your code and your display, your rendering, I think you need a human in the loop to validate this.
yeah, and like even I'll let Matteo go after, but like even like end-to-end tests, for example, like typically I'll use like Playwright these days, but like get by role, accessible testing versus just find some random selector that the AI could generate, so like there's stuff like that you still need to validate too, that getting back to like you can obviously coerce it to use the things you say, and this gets back to like the specs or like the agents MD or like the instruction files for GitHub Copilot, etc. But yeah, just right now you still just have to validate things.
Okay. Great. I think we stop here. I appreciate your contribution. It's amazing contribution, lots of insights for me to digest. By the way, we did the same in Python, the Extreme Python, and also XtremeJ. Eventually, maybe there is no point to separate the discussions. Similar insights came out, even though Python is mainly for one thing, web is another story, Java is on the server side. It didn't influence a lot. Okay, so I want to thank you again for your amazing contribution for your time, and I will wrap it all and put it online and share it with you. And let's see what happens in a year from now.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
yeah, and I wish you all the best, health, happiness, and that's it.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks for having us, Haim.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. And for the other attendees, if John wants the present, please email me. If not, I don't know what to do about it. This is a mystery. And I want to thank everyone for attending the conference. We will announce about the winners in the competitions and share the video clips, the slides. I will update you in a follow-up email. Also, I will also send you the virtual swags package we organized. And that's it. So good evening or good morning, whatever. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.